welcome back to my channel. I am Bekah Jo, aka the Makeup Tax Lady. Yes, I am still here. I apologize. It's taken me a little while to get another video, but we have a fun video today. Today I am going to walk you through, well, you're going to see 8 looks that I have created with the Forevermore and Nevermore collection from ENSLEY REIGN. These were purchased by myself, but I do have, as far as I know, an affiliate code with ENSLEY REIGN if you are interested in shopping their site. It is TaxLady10. As far as I know, it's a non-affiliated code. I've never received anything back from it. But yeah, if you choose to use my code, thank you. So yeah, we've got 8 looks with the eyeshadow palettes, the blush and highlighter palette, and then I also picked up a single from the collection. Towards the end of the video, we will do some swatches. We will talk through the palettes, my opinions and experiences with them, and then wrap it all up by talking a little bit about where I've been. I'm not going anywhere. It's just taken me a little while to get this video up. So thank you so much for being here. Whether you are new to my channel or you are returning, I'm glad to have you here. Let's get into the 8 looks. Hello, welcome back. Here we are with the final 8th look. It has been a while since I first applied this look, so I've added some lip liner and reapplied my lip gloss. I think that's all I've done to freshen things up. So let's go through. I think first I want to do swatches of our palettes. As we get into the swatches, let's start by talking about just like the packaging. These are probably some of my favorite packaging from ENSLEY REIGN. I have really enjoyed all of their packaging. There's a few of them that don't resonate with me necessarily, but these, they're just so elegant. They're so pretty. They're refined. Like they're very nice. I really enjoy them. The FOREVERMORE palette looks like it has a little bit of like wear and tear kind of in the background of it. It's not like, well, it's textured just over the design, the name, those sorts of things. They both have on the back just a little more information about ingredients and those sorts of things. The NEVERMORE doesn't have that like distressed look in the background of the palette. It's just kind of a matte black, but both very pretty, both very similar shape and size, probably to the Snow Moon and Wolf Moon, I would say. The like Flutter and Flourish palettes are basically the same in size, but the components are just a little bit smaller in those and larger in these. So overall, very nice. Also, we could say similar things about the blush and highlighter palette. It's very pretty, very simple. We've kind of got the contrast of the light and the deep. FOREVERMORE, NEVERMORE, which are the same names as the eyeshadow palettes, but this one is blush and highlighter palette. Let's start with swatches of FOREVERMORE. I am going to steal the swatching process from how my friend Jana has done them. She likes to swatch just kind of across the bone of her arm, and it makes it so that you can kind of see a little bit better. When you try it like this, like your arm twists different that way versus this way. So we're gonna try across the bone of my arm, and let's start with the FOREVERMORE palette. Beloved, Smitten, and Infatuated. Beloved, Smitten, and Infatuated. Building up the swatch for that first shade just a little bit. Oh, I hope you can see all that sparkle. Next we have Love Struck, Cloud 9, and Love Note. So here's Love Struck, Cloud 9, and Love Note. Building up Love Note just a little bit. Next we have Love Spell, Forever, which is this gorgeous marbled shade, speckled shade. I'm trying not to dip too hard in the pan because it's got just a little bit more texture to it. I'm touching very lightly. And Head Over Heels. So here on the fingers we've got Love Spell, Forever, and Head Over Heels. And our last set of swatches for FOREVERMORE, we have Daydream, Always and Forever, and Heartstrings. So here we have Daydream, Always and Forever, and Heartstrings. Such a pretty palette. These like sparkly, kind of iridescent-y topper shades are my bread and butter. I have worn this palette with just like 1 or 2 shades beyond this video, like just a 1 and done or a 2 and done type of look. This just is my type of palette. I think that the color story is so pretty. I love pinks and purples. I do think that the 3 mattes on the top are a little redundant. Yes, they have a little different undertone to them. The kind of gray shade up here in the corner, Love Note, I wore that one in hoping that it would add a little bit of gray to my look, but it was very soft on the eyes. Nothing wrong with the formula, it's just a very light shade. So if you are inclined toward the ethereal and pinky looks, like I am, this palette, I think, fits that bill. The shimmers are just top notch. Top notch. I love them. And these palettes, as well as basically all other ENSLEY REIGN palettes, at least all the ones that they've been creating and putting out in the last few years, are magnetic. So you can switch out some of these shades with other shades. Like I'm thinking about with some upcoming travel, I might swap a few out and then use a palette like this, and I can give myself some really fun and easy options. So yeah, I love that their pans are magnetic. I don't actually move around eyeshadow pans all that much, but I love that it's an option because I don't want to wash off these swatches just yet. I'm going to attempt to swatch on my other arm. So this is the Nevermore palette, and let's start with this shade up here. This is Bitter Lace, Toxic Love, and Dagger. This shade is especially textured. It's kind of goopy. In my experience with the shade, you touch it very gently in the pan. Very gently in the pan. All right, I'm already off to an awkward start with my fingers and how they'll swatch on my arm, so don't worry about it. This is Bitter Lace, Toxic Love, and Dagger. You can hopefully see the hollow chromes in Dagger there. Well, it goes in and out of focus. I just want to try to capture this shimmer shade for you, Dagger. Like, look at how magnificent that shade is. That's wild. That is the more emollient shade, but it is so impactful. Okay, next we have Lost Letters, Love Lorn, and Love Bombing. Lost Letters, Love Lorn, Love Bombing. Yep, see, I got them backwards now. Sorry, we'll just go with it. And they're messier swatches, but you get the idea. Next we have Sorrowful, Broken Hearted, and Desperation. So here is Sorrowful, Broken Hearted, and Desperation. Oh my gosh, the amount of sparkle in that shade. That's what's still left on my finger after that swatch. That one is not a super emollient shade. It feels more like the other shades in the palette, like just a really pretty sparkly kind of indie eyeshadow. Okay, last three, we have Cruel Intentions, Faded Love, and Dark Romance. Cruel Intentions, Faded Love, and Dark Romance. Let's see if I can get these in the right order. Not that it matters anymore. And those kind of ran into each other, but c'est la vie. Oh, these shades are so yummy. Okay, so here are all the swatches of the Nevermore palette. This one obviously leans a bit more dark. Overall, the shimmer, the special multi-chrome sparkly shades in this palette are just as stunning as you have been thinking or seeing, or if you have the palette, I hope that you feel the same way. The shimmer shades in here are just phenomenal. This shade, the one that I have on the majority of my lid today, if I remember the shade name, I would say it's called Broken Hearted. I'm not one for like dark base shimmer shades, but this one has life to it. It has so many different colored sparkles in it. It's not like I'm gonna get a whole lot of use out of the shade, but it is fantastic as far as a shimmer shade with a deep base goes. This one, Lovelorn, stunning. This one, Dagger, that has a little more texture to it. The shade itself is so very pretty. It takes a little bit more to work with it. One thing I would recommend, glitter glue. If glitter glue works for you, use glitter glue. But another thing is to be very gentle in the pan. I have seen someone digging into this palette, into this shade, and kind of digging hard, and then they were frustrated with the outcome. I think if you start with less and then you can add more if you need to, but if you just remain gentle with the shade while it's in the pan, I think that's going to be a good starting point. Also, if you pick it up with your finger and you think you have too much on your finger, don't just put it straight on your eye. You can, this is a trick I believe Jana taught me, you can rub it between your fingers and it removes a little bit of what was on that finger and kind of can smooth out the shade if it's a shade that has a little more flake or a little more texture to it. So just a couple things to hopefully help working with those types of shades. This shade Bitter Lace, which was the first one we swatched, might just be one of my favorite shades in my whole collection. It is so pretty. It's sparkly. It's a little pink, a little purple. It goes with purples. It's brightening. It reminds me of a few other shades that I have that I really love. So just such a good one, such a good shade. The last shimmer in this palette, which is Cruel Intentions, is a very pretty metallic. And I would say we've seen this type of shade, this one may be a little bit different in like the warmth or coolness of it compared to the other ones. Maybe the others are a little more rose gold or a little more silver, those sorts of things. But we've seen this texture, this type of shade before. It's a very pretty shade. The mattes in this palette for Bekah Jo are a little bit deep. We have this shade, which is a little bit more mid-tone, and then we have two light shades, and then the others are varying degrees of deep. So it's a little bit tougher to me as a person who doesn't always love or wear deeper matte shadows. It's a little bit tougher for me to work this one out. I think that's where pairing these palettes together, Forevermore on top, Nevermore on bottom, is really smart, because we have plenty of lighter shades in Forevermore and we've got plenty of deeper shades in Nevermore. If you're a person who really prefers deep matte shades in your palette, you know, Forevermore might not have what you're looking for. Nevermore probably does. I do like that there is a little bit of a variety in the colors in the palettes. I mean, they're definitely pinky purple palettes, there's no denying that, but like the tones of purple, I'll show you the swatches again in a second, the tones of even just like the deep purples in here, there's some variety between this one and this one. Even like there's no repeats in the mattes between the two palettes. And of course we've got this really pretty very deep shade down here. I would say even if you got the pair of palettes and this is all that you have from ENSLEY REIGN, I would think you could even just switch out some of the shades between the two palettes and maybe make them, you know, work for you in your preferences that way. Let me attempt to show you all of the swatches. So we've got Forevermore on top, Nevermore on bottom. See how pretty they pair together? And how the undertones in some of those purples really are different from one another. Let's talk about the blush and highlighter palette. If you are not new here, you know that I love pinky blushes. That is my go-to. Pinky, sometimes peachy. I've been into a little bit more peachy, but the like neutral or redwood, rose-toned type of blushes, those aren't always my go-to. This palette, this blush palette from ENSLEY REIGN, I'm gonna have to say this is my favorite blush palette that they've done. I think these shades are perfect for me. I have reached into Bittersweet, or even a combination of Bittersweet and Love Drunk many times. Rebound, Tainted Love, love them. Love mixing all of them. These three I thought were maybe going to be too deep on me, but I can make them work. And let me tell you how I have made them work. So you probably saw in my looks that one of the brushes I keep going back to is this KJH Spectrum brush. It's just a really small angled brush with a little bit of fluff to it. I like the smaller brush. I'm not a big brush person, and especially when it comes to things like my blush, hopefully I'm getting all these words right, I prefer a little bit of a smaller brush because I have a little more control over the placement on my cheeks. So I like to dip into a shade or a couple shades that I'm going to very, very gently. Let me show you the amount of pressure I'm using when I dip into a shade. That's it. That is more than enough pigment. This palette, all of the blushes from ENSLEY REIGN, are plenty pigmented. So I would use something like this, and then I would take the brush and just tap it into the mirror a couple times, kind of priming the brush or working that pigment into the bristles a little bit, working off a little bit of the excess, and then very gently, it's not really the shade I was going for today, but that's okay. Very gently add it to where I want the most blush pigment on my cheeks. So I like my blush to go pretty much through here, and I like it to be the most concentrated right here. So very gently tapping, that's enough for right now. Add some to the other cheek, okay? And then I'll take my little brush cleaner. So this isn't like a thorough clean, but it's kind of knocking off all the pigment, all the powder pigment that's on there. And now I'm just taking that same amount, I haven't added any more powder, and I'm just gently pouncing around where I had placed that pigment to blend it out on my cheeks. Now we have a little bit of more color on my cheeks without overwhelming, and it's not so deep or so bright. I like blush with a little more pink pigment to it, like I said. So that is why this palette works so well for me. I love this so much. My friend Jana, I keep mentioning her. I'll make sure she's linked in the description below. She has a few videos out. She is taking a pause or not doing YouTube. But the videos that she has, as far as I know, they're still out there. Go check her out. She, in her highlighter and blush palette, she took these two shades, which are highlighters. We'll talk more about them in a second. And she put in the powders from the Shattered Looking Glass palette. Figured I might as well show you. So these two shades here, they don't have names, but these two shades here are just powders, just matte powders. There's a little bit more yellow, a little bit more pinky peach undertone. So she just took these out of here and put them in the new palette. And again, all of these pans are magnetic, so if you have, you know, any more than just one of these, you can move things around, you can replace them. Even if you just have one, you know, you can move things around within the same palette. I did do that in this palette. So these are the tones that, like, they're pretty, but like these are the ones that get me excited. So yeah, if you have like multiple palettes like this, if you don't, that's okay too. If you're just here for the entertainment, thank you for being here. But if you do, feel free to like switch things out and move them around and make it what works for you. Make it something that you will reach for and something you will enjoy. Okay, I do want to swatch this palette too. The back of my hands are like dry, so I'm gonna attempt to swatch on the palms of my hand. We're just gonna start from the top here. Longing, bittersweet, and flushed. Just longing, bittersweet, flushed. And while the blushes are pigmented, I would say that they are workable. They're not like you set them down and they've stained your face. Not in my experience, not in the way that I work with them. Next we have Heartthrob, Love Drunk, and Red Flag. Heartthrob is the highlighter, Love Drunk is the middle shade, and then Red Flag is the most red shade here. So the shimmer Heartthrob, you can see, is pretty iridescent with a little bit larger shimmer particle than Longing, the highlighter above that. Lastly here we've got Rebound, Tainted Love, and Foolish Heart. So Rebound, Tainted Love, and Foolish Heart. I also love that each of these shades is unique to the ones else in the palette. Like there's no crossover shades. These two may look a little bit similar, but this one's a little bit brighter. This one's a little bit more, has a little more purpley in it. So let's talk a little bit more about these two highlighters now. I love them. I love them both so much. I have this shade, which is Heartthrob. I mean, I put the blush over it, but that's what's on my cheeks today, if you can see it. It's a little bit more dispersed sparkle. So pretty. Makes me feel so pretty when I wear a pretty highlighter like that. It's got kind of blue and purple sparkles to it, and like I said, pretty much iridescent base. The one up here, I also absolutely love. I would say it's an iridescent base too. It's just, instead of being sparkly, like this one is sparkly, this one is more, I guess, shimmery, like not full on metallic, but it's got a very soft glow to it. And it's also that like pinky but purpley shift. I just built up the highlighters a little bit more. They're kind of hard to show on camera purely because they can be so subtle, especially this one can be so subtle, but you can imagine with a little bit of that like purple shimmer shine to it, that when you place it on top of one of these other blushes, it's going to bring it to life. Like it's going to have just a little bit of pop, a little bit of zing without being this sparkly look. Okay, I just had to wash the swatches off so that I don't feel claustrophobic and having makeup all over my arms. Don't get me wrong, I love swatches, I love swatching. Sometimes it's just like the overly conscious, now I can't touch anything, not trying to add sparkle to everything in my life at the moment. So anyway, those are washed off. And I also realized I had a little bit of lip gloss under my nose, so hopefully that's been there the whole time and you noticed it and you were yelling at me, and I do apologize. I think I have removed it now. Of course, the one other thing that I purchased from this collection that I did not swatch but will swatch, this is a single shadow in the shade Unresolved. This is what's on kind of the inner portion of my eyes today. This is a beautiful shade. We've got, again, so much sparkle with a lot of shine, and it's got purple and blue and pink, which again are the shades that just get me. So just gonna add that right here, and hopefully we can see how gorgeous that shade is. Even if you needed a one and done, that would be such a pretty one and done. I think it fits really well with the other items in this collection. So I did purchase this myself, purchased both eyeshadow palettes, the blush palette and the single shadow in Unresolved. So I don't have all of the little things about the collection, but I have very much been enjoying the items that I did pick up. You may have noticed, maybe you've never been to my channel before, I was missing for a while. This video has been a month in the making, I believe. And so wrapping it up today, I really needed to do that just to kind of pull the video together. There's a variety of reasons why it's taken me this long to complete this video. One of which was as I was nearing the end of my looks, which it's just taken some time to do the looks themselves, but I heard about the passing of our friend Brittany, and that really hit me, and I think it struck all of us, and we probably all kind of reacted to it a little bit differently. And for me, part of that was just taking some time, just appreciating, being grateful for the life that I have and the people that I have around me. And there was a little bit of like missing the excitement for makeup because a lot of the love that I have for indie eyeshadow was shared with Brittany. She and I weren't directly close friends. We messaged a few times on Instagram. I watched a good majority of her YouTube videos, and I think she's seen a couple of mine, but I'm praying a lot for her family as they go through this time. So I don't want to leave this video on a sad note, but I did just want to call out that that's where I have been. Not just that, I've had other things in life going on. Believe it or not, this is a busy season for the tax lady, so finding the time to play with makeup and edit videos It's just not top priority on every single given day, but I still enjoy it. I still love to. I still plan to come back. Thank you for those of you who have come back to my channel. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to disappear, I promise. It's just priorities in life. If you have thoughts on the Forevermore, Nevermore collection, if you picked anything up, if you are still considering, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I would love to chat with you. I think it's fun, even if we don't all have the same makeup, because we definitely don't all have the same makeup tastes. I think it's still fun to chat about makeup. Our Bible verse to close us out of today's video is going to be John 3:16 and 17, and I'm reading from the New King James Version. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through him. Thank you once again for joining me for today's video, and I hope to see you in the next one.